This should have been done 3-4 years ago when the deal was struck. Before the deal was made, and this is the world's longest deal, they should have said, we want our prisoners back.
Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump calling the release of 4 Americans by Iran long overdue. But that good news was quickly obscured following news of a kidnapping in Iraq. Right now, Iraqi security forces are searching for 3 missing Americans kidnapped this weekend. They were invited to a private event, reportedly dinner at a translator's home, and they were kidnapped by unknown gunmen. This story on the heels of that prisoner swap with Iran that might very well put a bounty on the head of every American abroad. For more, we welcome in former New York Police Commissioner Bernard Kerik. He also served as the interim Minister of Interior in Iraq for a time. He is the author of the book From Jailer to Jailed. Also joining us from Newsmax Washington, retired Army Colonel Patrick Murray. Patrick authored the book Government is the Problem. We thank you both for your time. Before we get to the situation in the Middle East, Bernie, I'd like your reaction to the sad news of 2 policemen killed within 24 hours, one in Utah, one in Ohio. In the Ohio case, before the officer was gunned down, police apparently got a call from the alleged shooter's ex-girlfriend saying he was looking to kill an officer. And sadly, it looks like he did. The war on police, Bernie, is it going to get worse before it gets better?
You know what, JD, both of these cases are tragic. And the first one in Utah, the officer was just responding to a motor vehicle accident, saw 2 people walking away from the accident, attempted to stop them, to question them. The guy turned around and shot the officer in the head, killed him. The second was found behind a municipal building in Ohio after the alleged gunman said that he was going to go out and kill a cop. This is behavior that has been increasing. This is stuff that we've seen increasing over the last few years, especially last year, in ambushes, attempted assassinations, executions. And I think this is something that's going to continue if the leadership in government, starting from the White House on down, if they don't set an example for really aggressively dealing with this stuff.
As tragic as the incident is in the United States with these cop killings, we do need to take into account what just transpired in Iraq with the kidnapped Americans. Patrick, any idea who's behind this kidnapping?
Well, JD, first let me just say I want to echo his words. My thoughts and prayers for the families of the police officers who were executed. And it is a matter of our authority figures stepping up and making an issue about that. As far as the contractors in Iraq, 3 American citizens have been abducted, and you're exactly right. It does come right on the heels of us just releasing the Iranians releasing our hostages, and we basically capitulating and bankrolling terrorism for the world's biggest state sponsor of terrorism. Is there a connection? We're not sure. They were taken out of an area, as I understand it, Sadr City, which is part of Baghdad, and that is a heavily Shia area, so I don't think it's ISIS. It could just well be the fact that Americans now have great big fat targets on their backs because the Obama administration has signaled their willingness to negotiate with terrorists and capitulate to their demands.
And Sadr City, Bernie, I remember visiting there when I was serving in Congress, and it was interesting to see the number of contractors there in that area of Baghdad. But I'm just wondering, Bernie, we heard Patrick mention the big payoff for Iran and now the release of those hostages, whether it's Sadr City in Iraq or someplace in South America. Do Americans abroad, for all intents and purposes, have a bounty on their head now?
You know what, JD, that's the way you started this out, and I just want to, I think the American people don't get it, and they don't understand it, but that's the reality that we live in. The Americans, anywhere in the world today, have a target on their head by this radical Islamic movement. And as far as Sadr City goes, there's no greater enemy I think, to the government of Iraq than Muqtada al-Sadr, who has been a problem since I was there in 2003. He controls that city. He controls that part of Baghdad. He's been problematic for years now. He's still there, still in charge, and I'm confident that he was sort of behind this.
Well, we will continue to watch with interest what transpires in trying to get our people back. And obviously, gentlemen, as you both note, when the American government basically offers a payout, this is the tragic result. Bernard Kerik, Skyping in from New Jersey. Retired Colonel Patrick Murray tonight from Newsmax, Washington. Gentlemen, you have our thanks. You heard what they had to say. Agree or disagree? Send me your comments at newsmaxtv.com/comments. Up next, Jeff Jacoby.